George. He has this title, JDPSN. JDPSN in Korean means venerable teacher showing the correct path. Well, it will be like a colonel in the army. The master would be a general. Colonel, well. So I try to also I was invited to give this introductory talk. Actually, this is like, you know, a band that warms up you before the Depeche Mode. So you could be ready with questions.
Yeah, often better.
Yeah, so please be very active, asking questions.
And come closer.
And come closer.
The best seats in the house are empty.
Yeah. So also, please take these seats. So, you know, since I was offered to give this introductory talk, I thought I will relay on the insight from this Buddhist teacher Ajahn Chah. I was reading a book about him, and there was one occasion when he asked one student, he was an American, to give some kind of talk. And that guy, he kind of prepared, you know, the talk. He rehearsed. He came up with some very bright ideas. And it was a brilliant speech, according to this Western standard. But Ajahn Chah was very disappointed. He said, you rehearsed the talk, you prepared the speech, he said, unpleasantly surprised. He said, yeah, no, this is the way we are giving talks. We come up with some ideas, then we structure this, and we give talks. No, Ajahn Chah said, no, this is not the way to give a speech on Buddha Dharma. He was wrong, you know. So it was kind of epiphany for me, you know, on the ways the Dharma talks or introductory talks should be given. So I actually have no difficulties to find what to say, because I'm empty, happy, since I sat this retreat, and how to give this, you know, how to reveal this. Well, I don't know myself, you know. I think you guys who didn't sat this retreat have big trouble to understand what I'm saying, because I remember myself, you know, I was writing something and I found this thought by Nagarjuna. Emptiness is the womb of compassion. Oh, I thought, what an interesting thought. Emptiness is the womb of compassion. And they wrote some teacher saying, well, you know, interesting, your take on this. And he said, no, Buddhism is not about intellectual figuring out something. So go to retreat, sit in silence, and maybe you will find for yourself, you know, what does it mean. Also, he advised, you know, just silent retreat, and maybe he suggested me, like, maybe sit 4 days in silence. Then it maybe will be clear for you, what does it mean. So I just spent 2.5 days. Maybe it's not very clear. But luckily we have George, who could clarify this. Yeah, I don't know how it works. This mind, you know, we always talk about the mind. It's a strange thing. For instance, in the corner, you can notice a little chair. We keep our chanting books on that chair. I remember in 1992, it was an altar. We were a small group of practitioners, so we had no place, so we would rent various places. one of the most interesting places was a room in a public swimming pool. And, somehow, we were renting a room that was in between of two wardrobes, men's and women's wardrobes. And somehow in between there was a place where we would gather, would bring altar, some piece of cloth to make small altar, Buddha. And my first enlightenment, sitting there and listening, I thought, wow, why people are always dropping their metal numbers. For instance, when you go to the swimming pool, first you go to the wardrobe, you give your coat and you get this metal thing, like number. And people would always drop them, namely in these dressing rooms, You could sit in here, blam, blam, I thought, what's wrong with this? What's the sound? Like blam, blam. Later we realized that these are namely the numbers. People somehow they're dressing, maybe it's slipping off, or somehow they're dropping. So this sound of mindlessness was an ambient noise for us, and crowds also. And so 30-something years passed, and now what is clear? Rytis is changing his posture. Somebody is cleaning throat. And nose also. What becomes clear? Okay, so I think that was enough.
Hello everybody. Since you had a story from strange place, I have to come up with a story from strange place too. What appeared to me was, as we are not the richest school in the universe, and so we use whatever space we get, and we all, or at least we all who are here for a while, experience different settings, different places. And so one account to be, I was giving interviews in the toilet, because that was the only room which was available for interviews, right? And also that person had multiple cats who used the toilet too, right? And I'm mildly allergic to them too. So I'm sitting there next to the toilet. There is the cat's toilet, and then people are coming for interviews, and sometimes cat comes and does this business and goes away. And it was only 2-day retreat, so only 2 interviews. But it's wonderful to see that even there something like this is possible. And remember, the San Sanim always said, good situation is a bad situation is a good situation, right? But I like Andrei's test was like, that's true. However, good situation is a good situation. Bad situation is a bad situation. Right? So all of those statements are true. Now, which you like? So do you guys have any question? Anything, really?
So, regarding this emptiness, form of compassion, I wonder, what is your take on this Nagarjuna's thought that emptiness is the warmth of compassion? Thank you for teaching.
Any other question?
I have similar question. No, not similar. Emptiness and fullness, same or different?
You really understand?
No.
Really?
No.
Your robe is gray.
Okay. Thank you.
Welcome. Any other question? I promise I can talk more.
I wanted to ask on the end because my question is very formal about practice, form. But maybe if nobody asks, so maybe I will ask. You know, when we started in the beginning, very as
There was a
told, this old times. Zen Master Wubong said we in the beginning we had this altar only for Buddha, but later we had not this but smaller picture Wam Somju, and he said that it's not necessary altar for Wam Somju because in some Zen centers some no, but he say if you have picture of Wam Somju, then when you light candles for Buddha, you have to light candle also for Wam Somju. Not necessarily for Jangboso. Jangboso only when it's ceremonies for some personal funeral. So, but how it is? But this retreat we didn't light these candles. Is any tradition correct or not correct? Or how it is?
It's really what you make it, okay? The standard is if you have a Hwang Sunjun altar, you light the candles. I personally don't care, so I didn't even think about it. But it really, it depends on the setting. Traditionally in our school, we have mainly the main altar. Only like the bigger places would have the side altars. And again, it's a tradition you will lit up those. And like in Korea, you would also lit up that one, right? So it really, it's kind of, to me, like this comes to under what kind of dynamics you develop as a Zen center in coordination with your guiding teacher, rather than there is like something written in a stone. That would be my take on that.
Okay, thank you.
Welcome. Any other question? Man, I answered all the questions during the interviews then.
I want to.
Yes,
I only after interview realized that you are with hair. How you saved your beer and
Yeah,
because everybody couldn't.
what's wrong with my beard?
Nice.
I just got lazy at one point. It's like, I mean, in some ways it's more work, but you know, I have many weird things happening with my existence. One of them is my head. I have this genetic disorder, which I don't remember its name, but when I shave my head looked like a Sharpie, you know, like the dog. You know, it's kind of like wrinkly like that. And so he saw that. So it looks like I'm wearing my brain. And it's also really difficult to shave it, right? So at one point I decided I'm gonna shave only once a month. Then I decided I'm gonna stop shaving at the beginning of winter because it gets cold, right? And I will shave at the end of the winter. And after one winter, I was like, screw that. And that's the result.
Very nice.
Thank you. But I mean, it's kind of one of those things. Most of us, at least in my generation, when we got to Zen, we were like, oh, the proper way is to shave your head, and, you know, right? So that's what we all did. And then the kind of usual thing like, go over there, the guy with the short hair, right? That's the sentence which really works in a Zen center. But eventually just kind of grew out of it, and, you know, if you like it, fine. If you don't like it, there is no reason for anybody who practices Zen, unless they are monastics, to be shaved. And we also have some monastics who have at least beard, like Young Ansunim now. He's so beautiful. I mean, he's really like, you know, he has this beard. Like his beard is longer, but not as thick as mine. And he has these long eyebrows, and he's gray, and he looks like this Taoist monk, right? Like the sage you see the pictures from the books, right? He looks exactly like that. So we are not really that attached to looks. Any other question?
I have a question about emptiness and fullness. No, but this time.
Come closer.
This time different, right? Yeah, we have this concept of emptiness. We chant form is emptiness, emptiness in form. And when we spoke a bit in Advaita tradition, I read they use almost for the same purpose the word fullness, which is kind of interesting, because not big difference, because this emptiness is a bit depressing, right? It's like everything is empty, you know. You like feel not so good, you know. So my question: could you?
I mean, talk for yourself. It feels wonderful to me.
yeah, but.
But your feeling is better.
Can we vote?
I mean,
Better with emptiness.
I mean, it's all emptiness, you know, like it's empty, like well. But could you give a bit of explanation of this emptiness, right?
Emptiness. Well, it really means that everything in its essence is empty. It doesn't have its permanent existence. Also, it doesn't have an independent existence. Right? This planet on which we are doesn't exist in a vacuum. Right? Everything is interconnected. Right? And everything will disappear into nothing. Actually, right now, the current physics kind of still don't know what to do with that, right? They discovered actually I forgot what is the new thing they discovered last year, like new thing, which is a particle which appears and disappears. It literally disappears from the existence and reappears elsewhere. And they still don't know what to do with it, right? So we are both full and empty all the time. And you can experience that emptiness when you sit. You really disappear at one point, right? Once your thoughts are not grasping it, then what is there? Right? Does the tree make a noise when it falls and nobody is here to hear it, right? It's one of those things. Emptiness is a concept. A concept which describes in a certain way something which cannot be described, right? And as Nagarjuna was mentioned here, he is probably the best philosopher ever to talk about that. So I am far, far, far from his intellect and his grasp of that. So if you really want to go deep in that, definitely Nagarjuna would be the best. But then, Zen you already understand, right? Do you?
I hope so.
Right? So emptiness, again, it's just a concept. Don't attach to it, right? That often happens with people that they get into a samadhi, right? It's wonderful. The idea of the separate self disappears. And there is just this being. No paying bills, no going work, no find children, nothing, just this wonderful bliss, right? It's wonderful, it's part of the existence. Everything comes from that. But all of the things we experience are also part of that. Like one of the things which I really don't like this term that, this is the game, right? That the real something is somewhere else. It's the same stupidity as like, oh, this is just kind of life, that the heaven is the true thing. No, this is it. Like it or not, this is it.
So it's not exactly emptiness, right? It's still like not exactly totally nothing, right?
Lucy, do me a favor. Just
No.
give me a little punch over there. Thank you.
Go away.
Is that empty?
That is not empty.
Enough?
That is not empty. That's
It is
painful.
very empty. Yeah, really. Those concepts are helpful for some stuff, but at the end, they are only concepts. Don't hold on to them.
You still have to pay.
Yeah. And then at the
I
end,
know
we all have to
it's
die
concept.
anyway.
But still, we are using some concepts, so it's nice to have also a bit
No,
of understanding, right?
No, and I think I gave enough for this type of a talk.
Okay. Thank you.
Any other question? See, everybody's depressed now.
Let's talk about fullness.
Let's talk about fullness.
We can play, this game. We have prize for the questions. We have this mala, so if anybody asks a question, we can give mala to this person.
Oh wow! You're bribing people for questions. We should do that. Yes.
I have now. You were having many interviews these days, and I wonder how you feel like a practicing person. Do you use interview as your practice? Because we have traditional forms, bowing, sitting, and you were absent. Not bowing, but sitting. Don't you need to some form, some practice for your personality
Of course.
to return to this point zero?
Yeah, of course I do. And I also did chanting this morning, but I'm not always on a retreat. That's one. And secondly, really the interviews are practice as well, a different kind. And it really, you have to be there 100%.
Of course.
If you are not there 100%, you're doing a shitty job. And it really, not just that other people will feel it, you also feel it yourself that something is not right. But you really are one with that situation. You really are there for whoever is there. And that's the same thing you do here. You're 100% here. And the job of the teacher is really to help reflect for the people back, right? Less of me is there, better the interview is. I was saying this to somebody during the interview, and that's one of those moments you never forget when I had an Inca ceremony, and people come and they ask you Kongan questions in public, and I was answering, it was going okay, right? So in a moment I start feeling like, yeah, this is going fine. Question came and I hit the target, but I didn't hit the bullseye, and I was like, crap. Like really, in a moment, this kind of I am something appear, it goes out of the window. So really, interviews in that, it's one of those incredible things where you really have to be there. And I remember Debong Sunim was telling me when he started teaching that he realized, it's not me giving interviews, I am getting interviews. Right? So it's really, it may look like a job from the outside, but it really is not. It is a type of practice. But in the same time, what you said is also true. Some quiet time, some chanting, some bowing also necessary.
After working day, when you deflected some from this his horizon, he needs a compass needs to return to some place. So this was not hard for you to do.
No, it really it's. I love it. I really love to be with people and be able to help them to navigate those waters. And I was fortunate enough that I had people who helped me, and I still have people who help me do that. And so it really, I don't lose energy through that. Like maybe physical one, but like the emotional one, let's say the spiritual one, like I actually feel more charged now than at the beginning of the retreat. Really, I feel the energy, I feel connected with everybody more than before the retreat. So with that, yes, have a little nap would be helpful, but otherwise I don't feel that I'm tired or that I need to sort out my thinking or anything like that.
So for those who maybe are wondering what we are talking about, actually we have to say that George every day was giving interviews to all the participants of the retreat. So 20 conversations a day, so just to clarify.
And as you see, I'm quite chatty, so it's not such a big challenge for me. But it really is an absolute privilege to have a job like this. It really is. And one of the things is really, it's one of the most important things for us as human beings to understand why we are here. Like, what is our job in this life? What this life really is. Like, what am I, right? That's why we're here. We're looking into what is that? And then how to help this world. And as we are looking into it and we kind of getting more clear about what is our existence and what is our place in that existence, we naturally feel that we want to help this world. I mean, we say that every morning and every evening. It's part of our teaching, understand yourself and help this world. But that really becomes more and more part of your reality. That intention really becomes the way you want to live. That's what you want to do in this world. You want to help. You want to be really an active and good part of that existence, right? And so as I was searching for that, I had people who helped me with that. And they had people helping with that. And that goes all the way to Buddha. At least that's what we think. But there is this long chain of people helping each other to have better life, to be in a better world. And so part of the thing which appeared for me, and maybe that's also the getting older part, but it's just really, we have to help it to pass it on. I mean, we have this incredible responsibility that what we've got, that it would be there for the generation after us, right? So that is the thought which occupies my mind the most, like how to pass it on. And by teaching this, that's part of what I feel is really one of the most important things in this life. So, really thank you for your question. And any other question?
Ten. Ne?
Ne?
Pasirodė, kad kėlė. Ne, pasirodė, kad kaimynė pasirodė, kad kėlė ranką, bet ne, pasirodė. Vaidas antros malos. No?
Just request. I was in this retreat together with you in Slovakia, and the master Dekwang,
Mhm.
and you heard from Andres that Dekwang is your teacher.
Yes.
Some special relationship between you.
Oh, he would definitely not agree with that, but
Okay.
yeah.
So could you share what made it something about him or some situation that made impression? Why this teacher?
Well, for one, he was the first teacher I encountered, so maybe I'm just simple that way. I had multiple teachers. I really want to stretch it out that he was not the only teacher, but he was what we call the root teacher. Like he was the one who I referred the most, and I did change my life enough so I could move and live with him. So yes, he is one of those people who was really important and is still very important to me. He's coming in 2 months. And yes, we have good enough relationship that the last 12 years he spends sometimes few weeks, sometimes few months in our Zen center in Czech Republic with us. I remember on his first talk, I mean, there were two things I remember from it. One is formal meal, and for those who knows formal meal, they will understand. For those who don't, he will explain. We normally, now it got much better, but we normally eat fairly fast on a formal meal. And I am a fast eater, so I'm actually good with it. Actually, we eat too slow for me. But in that time, I was actually, reading some of these spiritual books where, like, chewing your food and eating slowly was very important. And I was really, really trying to do that, and I was greatly suffering, right? And then I get onto this retreat, and everybody's like, I was like, yes. Right? And so during the Dharma talk, one person asked, why do we eat so fast? And it's like, we don't eat fast. When you eat, just eat. And he goes, and then he makes this motion, right? And we are like, and the next thing is, people are asking, because one of those things we have with practice, we spend time with it, right? We create an effort, right? And especially in this society we live in, we kind of see it kind of more like an investment. You know, I put $1,000 here and I expect 1,200 to come back, right? And spiritual practice is nothing like that, yet we kind of look at it that way, right? And so somebody asks some question along those lines, you know, like, what do I get, right? And the question is like, well, I cannot promise anything. The only thing I can promise, if you do it right, you will lose all of your ideas. You lose everything. And I was like, yeah, I can follow that. So that really was the moment where I decided I really want to be with this guy. But again, I had many other teachers who helped me along the way, but he was the one I kind of refer back to. And if you guys want to sit with him, he would be in Brajne the last week of June. So generally you are invited in Brajne, which is in Czech Republic, but if you would like to sit with Dekwang Sunim, who just turned 80, so you know, we don't know, I mean, we never know how long anybody is going to be here, but in this age, the probability of longer staying is shortening. Any other question?
Yes, please also, who came to the Zen Center and sit there, please feel free, you know, we are fed up with asking this guy questions. don't be shy, please also anything, you know, out of the blue, please.
Yeah, just don't ask me about emptiness. I have nothing about that.
Okay.
Then about fullness.
How about, we have newcomers, right? Please explain to newcomers a primary point.
That was for him. Right? We talk about primary point. It's one of those kind of key parts of our teaching. And what we mean by that is kind of returning to the mind before thinking, where we can also kind of refer it to as emptiness from some point of view, right? And it's the thing which, if I ask any of you, where do you go when you die? Wonderful. What's next?
You'll see.
Yeah. That's pretty much as far as we get, right? We don't know, right? But the thing which appears in your mind when you hear such question, we call these great questions, is kind of, and it's not this stupid, it's just, That is what we call the don't know mind. And a huge part of our teaching is to help people to return to that. This mind before thinking. The mind which doesn't grasp that this is this, I like this carpet or I don't like this carpet. I actually didn't make an opinion about it yet. But you know, when you do this, when you think about this as a stick, all of that is already our intellect working. But there, before all of that appears, there's this and that heart should be curious. It is like when we talk, one of the ways also we talk about it is don't know. But it is not a don't know as I'm stupid, I don't know something. It is don't know as not grasping any knowledge yet, not subscribing to anything, just trying to see things as they are, right? What is right in front of me? And one of the things which really, to me, one of the biggest gifts we can give to each other is try to have that kind of mind anytime we encounter each other, without preconception. Oh, I know Arnas for 23 years. I know everything about him, right? That is, for one, not true. But secondly, that doesn't allow me to see a certain aspects of his personality, right? And it doesn't allow me to see the changes which are happening to him. And that, in turn, it makes much harder for him to make those changes because I am enforcing my point of view on what he is, right? And we do that to each other all the time. So if we can return to this, to the mind before thinking, and see every moment as a new, that is an incredible gift we can give to us and to one another. And obviously, we are not discarding the knowledge and we are not discarding the wisdom we have, but we just giving a chance to see things really without preconception. And so to that, we use the questions like this, and we also use hits like this. We sometimes shout, like I already showed. I hope your ear is fine. We hit the floor. It's just way to bring us to this mind before thinking. And it's a wonderful gift we got from our great-grandfathers of Zen, this style of teaching. And so I really like it, and anything in life which helps us to do that, it's helpful. For me, in the daily life, it is the breath which helps me to do that. Right? When everything is really chaotic and my mind is slipping away, just really, instead of hitting the floor, which often is not possible, or shouting, which it's even worse, just breathe deeply in and out. Just what it is. What is in this moment? That is one of the core teachings of our school, and it's really important that we keep that particular part of teaching.
Thank you. I have more also.
Any other question?
Please, you ask question.
She just came.
She doesn't know that people are afraid to ask.
So good afternoon, everybody. My name is Elena, and I have special request from the teacher. So I'm here, and it's really nice to see all of you, and especially Master and Abi. So I have no question for that moment, but maybe later I'll tell.
can you answer?
I just did. Also, you can, yes, I am supposed to be the main band, but you can ask the support.
Warming group.
I remember on my first big concert I've ever been, it was the concert of Guns N' Roses in 1992, and their support was Soundgarden and Fate No More. Right. Yeah, it was brilliant. But by the time the Guns N' Roses started, the whole stadium was going, Fate no more. Fate no more. Axel got so pissed. Well, it was a great concert. So, support also very good. Also, if you just want to share something, that is also fine.
Then question to support then. Are you going to become a teacher? When are you going?
Now.
But in official role, I mean, not just.
It's very official. Look at it.
No.
What else do you need?
I don't know the name of teacher as you, as George. It's a different role, yeah?
Like judo popsing?
Like when you will be main playing group and you will have your own warming group.
Yeah.
Now.
Okay, first interview with you I had already, as I understand, yeah?
Not enough.
Okay. So you are here. Applause then.
Is it enough?
Yes.
Thank you.
Any other question?
Vaida doesn't hear.
Oh, yes. Perhaps easy one. It's strange for me that you mentioned these mass events like rock group concerts and the groups like Iron Maiden. And I was thinking that do you see the listeners are playing great role. In a contrast, when we as students want to find out something, we go to your room and ask you 1 to 1. And mass audience is on the other side of a scale. They are playing like 3 to 4 guys to Rolling Stones, let's say, concert. And I don't know, do you see the idea for me that they are using audience as an instrument? They are using it, so this is very interesting transition of yours from mass communication to personal communication or just silence. How do you choose, or this is the correct reason you switch?
There is no correct, I just switched because that's what I wanted to do.
Of course. Of course, but
There is no deeper meaning than that. I really wanted to understand why I am here, and music was not giving that answer to me.
so you quit the music now?
Well, I
or
quit.
You go to
I
the concerts?
I quit playing because I wanted to really focus on the meditation, but I never quit listening, and I never really fully quit playing. But I only play for myself when nobody's around because it's no longer any good. So, but I love music, and it's an incredible part of my life, and I would say anybody's life. and I still go for concerts, but unfortunately I don't have that much time for that. They are often on the weekend, and I'm usually doing this on the weekends. So not that many big concerts. What was the last concert I saw? I think the last thing I saw was Meistro Parker, which was absolutely incredible. He's like the grandfather of funk. He's an incredible musician, and it was great. And I went there with a bunch of other Zen people, and we just were dancing and singing all night. And it's a practice too if you are in the moment.
Yeah, so Rolling Stones does practice also.
Of course. You know what was the first? You know what was the first act of the Czechoslovakian president after we got from the Russian occupation? No, he invited Rolling Stones. Right?
Okay, so this was a contrast.
Yeah, there is really nothing wrong with, or like there is this idea often that the meditation and the spirituality is only linked with this like quiet music, you know, it has to be a sitar and stuff like that. No, everything could be part of it.
But they are abusing people because they use technology. The technology very powerful, and they actually can program. And now we have a festival in Vilnius. We have a festival in Vilnius which only lights are using, like fireworks, you know, and everyone is happy. All Vilnius happy. You can scale this fun, this stuff to the level of a city. To the level of a country. It will take time and impose emotions on everyone. It's like programming the environment.
It could be, but it could be also good. It depends what you make of it. There is, like every technology has its good and its bad.
But there is no one to assess it anymore.
Oh, there is plenty of people to assess it. Any other questions? Of music?
As Andrzej's stats used to say, let's go stupid. How do you
I can do that.
How do you like Lithuania?
How do I like Lithuania? Do I have a choice to have an opinion? Of course it's wonderful. Although we thought we were going to die when we got out of the car. We stopped, what is the castle name? Trakai. We were driving around Trakai, and you know, I keep coming here for 20-something years, and I always see the picture, but I never been there. And Tomasz noticed that we are going around that on the map, right? So he was like, well, there is this interesting castle. It's like, oh, let's go, right? It was really like a mile detour. So we got out, and it was freezing. It was so cold. And, you know, we were coming from the warm south. You know, we just had the sand from Sahara above our heads, like 20 degrees, and we come here, and we were not equipped. So that would be my complaint about Lithuania.
I'll give you some Lithuanian firewood.
Oh, thank you. Thank you.
I'm bribing you. That's from my garden.
It's beautiful.
That's a primary point.
May I ask one question? Don't worry, there's not about emptiness. I don't remember in what tradition I read and I found such sentence. Happiness is the measure of progress in spiritual path. Would you agree on that or not?
Yeah.
Yeah?
In many ways. I mean, if the practice doesn't bring you joy, if it's just hard work, then there is something not going correctly with your practice. You really just, I mean, you don't have to be happy, but if there is no change towards kind of being, and now I like this word contain, like kind of fulfill with your existence. If that is not happening after 20 years, for example, something is not working, right? Yes, you can have upside downs, right? You can practice for 20 years and everything will be fine, and suddenly something happens and everything falls apart and then you feel like crap. That's normal, that's just being a human, right? But part of the practice should be really that you're becoming one with this. Like, joy comes with it. Also, there is this other part, because as we are like becoming one with this universe, right? And we feel the love and compassion and all that kind of nice stuff we talk about, we also feel the pain of the world, right? So that joy always has a little sadness in it too, because there's an incredible amount of suffering in this world, and you feel it. You are constantly aware of it, same way as you are aware of happiness. So yes, joy is definitely part of the progress, but also feeling the pain of the world is part of the progress. So it's for many people is this kind of thing where, you know, they start practicing, they feel good, they feel more open, but as you become more open, everything comes in, not just the good, right? And so people get confused. How come I feel more pain? Because the pain was always there, you were just shut down to it, right? So that part also is really important for one to experience, but also for people to know that it is there, right? This kind of like meditation is about happiness. That definitely is not true, right? Meditation is about understanding what you are. That's the true meaning of that. And if you do it for happiness, it will help you a bit. But if you do it really sincerely, it will open up every possible part of your existence, and the suffering is part of it. So I just want to stress that out, that happiness, yes, but there is big but, and not mine. Anything else?
And how to act ecologically with myself, with that surrounding thing when you see it and real one around you.
Ecologically, you said?
With myself, you know, but not to drown in that.
Yeah. Everybody has a different, okay, so I cannot really say like this is how you do it. But again, that's where the kind of the regular practice comes in. When you go into the don't know, when you go before the thinking, before the good and bad appears, where there is really this nothingness and everythingness, right? Because emptiness is not empty, it's just you cannot describe what it is, and emptiness is one of the words you can use. So when you return to that and you build up your energetic center, then when you feel whatever you feel, you know it's part of it. You have the strength to endure it. I remember once, I think it was Ola was saying that, you know, the difference between like the experienced practitioner and somebody who doesn't have a practice or just starting is they digest things better, right? Their spiritual stomach is more resilient, right? So that's what it is.
And how do you digest the war, for example?
I cry. That's one of the ways I digest it. I talk with my friends about it. That helps me to kind of vent my emotions. I do chanting for it. Those are the things which help me. There is just, again, there is not just one war happening in this world right now.
It's just for example.
Yeah, no, that's why I'm saying that, because we kind of keep bringing that, you know, right now, because this war is very close to us and closer to you than to us. But there has been war on this planet pretty much non-stop through our whole life.
Inside also.
And also inside also. So it's really, it's one of those things which is really difficult to really have somehow inside balance. How can I be happy if there are people suffering? Does it mean we all should be just miserable because there is suffering in this world? No. But we need to find how we deal with it. And each of us has a different mechanism. It's really hard to say it's going to be like this, it's going to be like that. But this returning to the primary point, to our original nature, where really from which the good and bad appears, that really helps to have that. And then you act according to the moment you are in, right? Right now, yes, there is war happening, but also we are sitting here in this wonderful place and having a good time. There's nothing wrong with that either. Right? So it's really, our teaching is moment to moment to moment. Wake up. So if there is a need to do something for the war and it fits with my belief or my capabilities, I help with that. At the same time, right now, the only thing is how I can talk about how I feel about it. There is nothing more I can do about it. Does it answer your question? I remember Taekwondo Singh actually brings that nowadays quite often, that really what really brought him to Zen was this moment word teaching, right? And so this really, that everything is moment by moment by moment. We have nothing else than this moment. As much as we like it or as much as we don't like it, we will never have anything else than the moment we live in. Everything which is a past, it's gone. Everything which is future is not here. We actually don't even have this moment, but that's a different story. The moment by moment, that's the only way we can live. And the wisdom helps us, you know, to learn from the past and plan for the future, but don't be attached to those things. Really, in this moment, what is in front of you? What is the thing you you should do. And that's where the Kongan practice is really helpful. It really helps us to deal with these kind of imaginary problems, which helps us then to be really there for the situations as they arise. And we can react really to the situation, not to our idea of the situation. Because that's often what we do. We react to the idea of what is happening. If we can really see it, we make less mistakes, then we create less suffering. So really, this being in this moment is one of the most important things in our teaching. Anything else?
I have a question. When we speak with kids about what would be your advice, how we can approach that and how we can explain?
I will start with the fact that I'm not a parent. So giving a parent's advices is not really my forte. So I would expect that somebody who is a senior practitioner and has kids would probably know better than me.
Then to Rytis.
Don't talk about it. They will learn from you not talking every day. Yeah, with you. So yeah, I do have 2 kids. We are not practicing them. One is 25 and soon we will be 20. So yeah, what can you say? If you can be there for them when they need you. So I met this senior student, this mother of mindful parenting, Nancy Hathaway. She was traveling and she wrote an article, you can Google it, Nancy Hathaway on mindful parenting. So her idea, maybe she would be a better source of wisdom here. She had a kid with this hysteria problem. So this kid was screaming. And you know, when kid is screaming, it kind of blows your mind out. So Nancy was able just to be with this kid and just gently look at him. And if the scream becomes unbearable, she would focus her attention on the breathing and the repetition of mantra. So first time this instance of hysteria was like 30 minutes. 30 minutes of just, you are just gently being with somebody who is screaming like mad. And you just breathe. Next time it was like maybe 10 minutes and later it disappeared. But the only idea is just to be there for this kid. So I think this.
My answer would be just love them.
Yeah. No, that's from what I got from parenting. Yeah, be with them, and if they ask, then answer the best way you understand. Because if anybody tells you how to tell them and it is not it doesn't come from your experience, they will feel it and they will not trust that. It has to come from you. And so if you say, well, I'm doing this because it makes me feel better, but I don't actually understand it, the kids will be much happier with that than if you start saying, oh, blah, blah, blah. Then Martin Chuchu said. Right? So I think that's part of this, to really be real, be authentic. I mean, it's true for any kind of teaching, but I think the kids are way more sensitive to those things than adults are. I can put the story from the other end, which was my mother, because I could not explain to my mother what I'm doing, right? And you know, I'm a little bit man of extremes through my life, so my switch to Zen was not kind of like that. I start, you know, going a little bit here and there. I just, you know, I shave my head, left the home, and all that kind of stuff, right? So my mother didn't take that really well, which makes perfect sense. Right? It didn't make sense to me, right? Because I knew what I'm doing. But you know, when we kind of start communicating more again and all of that, there was this one moment which was very important moment for me. Was my mom said, I don't know what you're doing and why you're doing it. It makes no sense to me. But I see you are happy. And actually you are the happiest person I know. And that's the only thing I care about as a mother. So I think within the family that goes across the ways. Your children, if they see you happy, they will be happy that it helps you. And maybe they will follow in your footsteps, maybe they will not. That's not important. That's a nice clock.
Yeah.
Okay, maybe one more question, if there is any.
What is the latest?
About emptiness? Okay.
About emptiness.
The last one.
You have a question?
Yeah, what time is it?
Time for one more question.
Okay. So, how would you answer to the question that is not expressed?
That's a
It's
good
not
one.
about it.
Yeah, but I need an answer.
I will ask why it cannot be expressed.
Well, you try kind of to diminish the importance of the question.
No, I'm not. I'm trying to understand.
Thank you for
why-
it.
Yeah. Don't try to be smart.
May I ask also?
Okay. Go ahead.
But it's serious question, really.
Very, very serious.
I used this word many times, but I still cannot get it. What is it, samadhi?
Samadhi.
Right.
The other day I was caught in not knowing what is the literal meaning of the word samadhi, which now I have to say I again do not remember the exact literal meaning of the word samadhi. So if anybody knows the exact literal meaning of the word samadhi, please speak now.
Maybe not literal, but just.
No, there is a literal meaning.
It's meditative absorption.
See?
Meditative does not say. Does say one much. You know?
No, that,
I'm just quoting.
I can also quote the master John Gay. He said, Samadhi is about stopping, Prajna is about seeing, and they both work together.
yes.
So another quotation.
Yeah. So really, the samadhi is really where you become one with everything. Like when it's kind of the self disappears.
Emptiness.
Fullness.
Thank you. You just showed me he tricked me. Right? So it's really this kind of when you become one with this world, right? That is what we refer to as a samadhi. And Zen, and specifically our school, but Zen in general is not a samadhi school. We see that as part of our practice. When it happens, wonderful. But don't attach to it. That is not the point of the meditation. And that's a really important point. Many meditation schools, pretty much, that's the whole point, to get to that. And again, it is wonderful when you're there, and I'm sure we experienced it many times, right? But do not linger in there. Because then the prajna is necessary, right? So when we chant the Heart Sutra, at the end there is that they attain Anuttara Samyak Sambodhi. That's where the samadhi and prajna are one. When it truly functions in this world, when the fact that I'm talking to you is a samadhi, right? That is the highest possible one.
I would call just talk, but why use then samadhi if you're talking to me and this is samadhi, right? It's just talk. Why need this term samadhi then?
Uh-huh.
Well, you started with it.
Huh?
You started with the samadhi.
Yeah, I
But
know.
really, it's many people can say these kind of things. How many of them can actually live it? Right? It's very simple to say everything is one. I mean, it's true. Do you experience it? Do you have experience to say that because it is your experience? Most people don't have that. I'm not sure if I have that. I think I have some taste of it. But most people who say everything is one have no idea what they're talking about. They read it in the philosophy books and it makes perfect sense. But to live it is a different thing. Same is with this.
So prajna is?
Your robe is great.
You mean to live by, yes? Live by what?
Not enough.
But it literally means wisdom. Right. So how do we apply us in this world? That is the wisdom. And it's really, I'm not a Buddhist scholar, so to me, the first time I kind of noticed this kind of really emphasized was with the sixth patriarch, where he really makes a point that meditation itself is not enough. That really wisdom is essential part of the spiritual path. If you don't have the meditation, wisdom not enough. If have only meditation and you don't have it, that's also not enough. Really, both of them working together makes us complete. I saw a raised hand there.
Yeah, this is a bit related, if I can put it. About the roots of Buddhism came from India, and India now has the largest number of people in the world. But we usually do not speak, I do not hear about Indian roots, and you just mentioned the sixth patriarch So with this idea, do we still, at this day, how do you see India? India has many sages and many teachers. Is something, can they be, oh, we are the roots of everything. We know everything. We have sages, and if you really want to have wisdom, come to us as a tourist, see us.
Yeah,
and because Buddhism, you know, it is degraded from China, then Korea, then Japan. So if you are practicing in Japan, this is like fifth trait of real essence of the thing. How do you see for how your practice does India still hold some root in your practice, or you read books or suggest something?
India is just one of those old countries which gave a lot of things to this world.
And forgot them. So.
No, I would not go that far. It's just like I really like Zen teaching for many different reasons. One is that is the mix of Buddhism and Taoism. I really like that aspect of that teaching, and please don't ask me to go into that because we will be here another half an hour. But it really, I don't care at all what is the original teaching. I really don't. I only care if it's a good teaching, if that teaching helps this world. We actually have no idea what the original teaching was, because for anyone who was India, we have no idea what happened there yesterday, not 2,500 years ago, right? But it really, that aspect has never been important to me, and we never really focused on that in the school, what is the original teaching or not. We really care if the teaching is clear. And if the teaching is clear, it doesn't matter if it comes from Buddhism, Taoism, Shintoism, Christianity, it really doesn't matter.
So it is like a smell, like an inner feeling, one is trusting to assess that the teaching is clear. So.
And also I have a trust that, the lineage is kind of, we're passing the teaching to one another.
In our school, you mean?
Not just in our school, generally, and our school is in contact with other traditions. You can compare if the teaching actually makes sense, right? There are great Theravada schools, there are great Mahayana schools, there are different Zen schools, there are Vajrayana schools. There's many, many different kinds of Buddhism. They all have something to offer to this world. I just happen to like this particular form. That doesn't make it better to me. And as far as India and Buddhism goes, Buddhism was kind of pushed out of India in multiple waves. One is the Muslims wiped out most of the Buddhists in about 2 waves. Hundreds of thousands, maybe millions of Buddhists were killed. The biggest Buddhist university, Nanda, was burned multiple times by the Muslims. Then the growing strength of Hinduism again started pushing the Buddhism out of that particular region. And so at the moment there is about, I think, 3 or 4% of Indian population are Buddhist, which is still a few million people. But it's a really small number of the population are Buddhist, and they are mainly from the caste of untouchables. Because as Buddhism was mostly gone, one of the founders of the Indian state, one of the people who helped to write the Indian constitution, was a Buddhist, and he was untouchable. Which is really rare for somebody of this caste to be this high. And so lots of untouchables choose Buddhism as their religion. So it's a kind of very particular clique within India. And kind of put it more historically, just for a fun fact to me, is when Buddha starts the Sangha, he allowed everybody to join from any caste. We cannot imagine how revolutionary that was for the time. I mean, the untouchables will be killed if they even step on the shadow of a Brahmin. Suddenly Brahmins and untouchables were equal to each other within the Sangha. And then he also brought women in. So kind of in India, Buddhism is this kind of really revolutionary thing, which we don't see that. Like we read the stories of Buddha and just, this guy is doing this thing and everything is going fine. But it was really an incredible social uproar he created. It just doesn't come across from the text. So since we got into India, I kind of feel that would be a nice thing to say at the end of the talk.
And there is no Zen in India.
There is now Zen, at least one Japanese lineage has a Zen temple in southern India. It is through the Jesuits. The Zen master is called Amasami. He has 2 temples in the southern India at the moment. There could be something else, but those are 2 I know.
Thank you.
Welcome. And I guess since I said the last question before a few questions back, it's time to end this wonderful time. So thank you very much all for coming and for your questions and for your sharing and everything. Thank you, support, for supporting me. And I guess there will be some announcement, which that's his job.
Yeah, so there will be lunch and now. Everybody is invited.
And new people who came as a guests also.
Yes,
invited.
please stay, chat. Please stay with us.